going to be doing this little unboxing. And I'm so excited, and I am also nervous because this was a purchase. Let me just open it. This is a purchase that I have debated for a long time, I think, and finally just realized, okay, I am going to do it after being kind of inspired by Erin Ware, pretty much. And one of the videos that she posted on her Patreon, which, by the way, this came in so fast. It arrived here in, like, I think less than 4 days. Let me go ahead and do this little ASMR unboxing, and I'll be right back. So as you can see, we have plotter items. I have bought some plotter items because I have decided that I wanted to try out an A5 ring binder for kind of like my goal planning and sort of setting my intentions for every week. I've talked about this quite a lot on Patreon, so my patrons know the ordeal that I've been having lately when it comes to kind of figuring out what it is that I want to do, because I've been doing task management on a digital platform, and that works for me in regards to task management specifically because I have a lot of recurring events and all that jazz. So kind of figuring out my tasks is definitely something that I want to keep doing digitally. However, I don't have a space right now where I can kind of ideate and figure out timings of things and what I want to kind of like set my intentions for the week, for the month, for the quarter, for the year. So Erin recently mentioned on a Patreon video that she had wanted to get into the A5 plotter, and when she went on the plotter website, they still had the monthly and weekly inserts available. And because of that, she decided to just bite the bullet and get them. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go and see if they were still available, because at this point, we're talking about it being March, end of March, right? Like, as we all know, plotter does sell out pretty quickly. And like Filofax is pretty much sold out of most of their dated 2025 inserts as well. And when I went on, lo and behold, they were there. And so I decided that I was just going to take the plunge and do it, because for me, I've realized that while journaling, and it's so interesting because I was watching during my lunch break a video by Tori on Paper where she talks about, for her, Rings is a system that she uses when she wants to be more in control of her life and kind of more on a functional wavelength. And journals, bound books, are more like her comfort zone. Like she wants to be comforted, she wants to feel comfy, she looks towards bound books. And it's so interesting because hearing her say that, it feels that way to me as well. I love my journals, my bound books. This is not replacing any of my bound books in my system, but I don't currently have a functional system that works for me. And I've realized that really I need quite a lot of flexibility when it comes to functional planning to be able, because I kind of like go back and forth and I switch things up constantly. And so really I can only do that with two ways, either digital planning or rings, right? And I tried doing digital earlier in the year. If you've been here, you know that in the beginning of the year when I did my Techo Kaigi, I mentioned that I was going to do functional planning digitally a lot of the time. And it just does, there's something that just doesn't 100% click when it comes to digital planning. Not task management, that is going great, but planning in and of itself. And so the next option is rings. And I was a little hesitant because of the expense, right? And I didn't purchase a plotter cover. I do have another A5 rings that I purchased from Amazon earlier or later last year that just hasn't had a purpose. And so I'm going to be using that. I'll showcase that in a second. But the reason for getting the plotter is because I realized too that I really enjoy, or rather, I struggle a bit when it comes to printing my own inserts. And it's a struggle that I'm still having to kind of get over and work through. It's not something that I 100% have down packed, but I do definitely prefer having printed inserts, I think, that I can then mix up with some printed inserts. But yeah, there's a lot of experimenting that's going to happen and a lot of back and forth, and that's just the name of the game. But I really do need something for functional because I have a full-time job, I have my client work as a virtual assistant, I have YouTube, and I have Patreon. So technically 4 jobs, 3 if you want to include Patreon and YouTube together. And I need to make sure, and there's other projects that I want to do. Like I want to open up the shop finally. I want to create courses. I want to start the Happy Mail tier on Patreon. And so there's a lot of projects that I have going on. I want to focus on my writing, and I definitely need a space where I can kind of feel more in control and have a better idea of where my energies are going to be lying week by week, month by month, quarter by quarter, year by year, right? So that's why we have arrived to this section. Of the things I purchased on Plotter, like I mentioned, I did not purchase a Plotter rings. I do have this rings that I purchased on, oh, this is dirty, that I purchased on Amazon a couple of months back that went through a few different, I purchased it at first to be a commonplace system, which didn't work. And then I decided I was just going to use it as kind of like an not off cuttings, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like an overflow journal for more junk journal adjacent spreads. And I haven't really been using it. And when I decided to kind of try the A5 system, I was like, oh, I can use this. Which, speaking of, and I realized I don't think I've talked about this on YouTube, but I've also been trying to figure out the personal size. So this is a Portobello Filofax personal size. And originally I wanted to do the system in here, but then I realized this is too small. I definitely need something A5 or bigger for kind of like ideation and planning. But I think I am going to try and make this work for trackers, but that's still in the works. And that's not what this video is about necessarily. This video is about the A5. So I have done some work in here. I have just a couple of little things. And then this is a little page I had created back when I was going to start using this as a junk journal. But this is the binder that I'm going to be using. And she's pretty. I did add this this little pocket here, which is a B6 scallop pocket by Lauren Phelps Design that I just cut the little top of so that I can kind of space it out accordingly here. And I do think I'm probably going to end up adding a pocket in the back, but we shall see. The things I purchased. So I did purchase the monthly schedule and the weekly schedule, and then a few extras. I knew I wanted some of the accessories, so I did purchase these two. This is the ruler. What is it called? This is the 009 ruler pad, multi-scale and protractor, and I got it just because it looked pretty cool. And then I also got the band with lifter, and I'm kind of interested to see, because I hope, because they're just A5, that these will fit just fine, but I'm not 100%. We will find out together. I did also purchase 2 paper pads, the chart grid refill pad, as you can see here. Really like that. And I also purchased the blue paper because I could not resist the colored paper. I'm also looking at some Filofax inserts, and the pink paper, like weekly schedule, looks so good. It's just, oh, it calls to me. And then I ordered a few of the a set of the project managers as well. I figured since I was already going to place an order, I might as well place a bigger one so I didn't have to do another one and pay shipping twice. So that's that. Let's go ahead and, oops, this is some Happy Meal that I got that I will definitely be using in here. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this in the back. Cool, because ideally what I wanted it for was to be able to, and I was curious on how it is that you use this. Hey, cool, okay. Awesome. I love it. Nice, okay. Okay, and then I also got this, which I will be using maybe as like a today divider, but not 100% sure just yet. Cool. And then let's add the monthly schedule in here. And there's definitely still quite a lot of setup that I need to do. These are just extra bits and bobs, right? But I figured we could do this little initial one together. This is the magazine. This is, okay. Just to kind of see how it looks. I did decide that I wasn't going to purchase dividers, that I would make my own, because for the personal, I did purchase dividers, and the interesting thing about the personal is that when I first went to do things in it, nice. Looks good. When I first went to do things in it, the only thing I don't like is the sound that makes. I purchased a bunch of things while not really knowing if, like, how I was gonna use it, and so I have personal dividers and I have Franklin Covey compact dividers, and yeah, I just didn't want to have to spend a bunch of money outside of the necessary items. So this initial kind of like purchase is just to kind of get things started. Okay, so there are some extra pages here in the back, and this is 2026, I'm guessing. Yep, 2026. So we have January, February, March, 3 months, and then we have some note pages, which I could probably put in the back. Okay, cool. And then the weekly schedule. Now, I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to have the whole weekly schedule in here all at once, but I think for the time being, I'm going to, like, for the sake of this video, I am going to put them all in, just so that they are not kind of like all over the place. So I am just going to put the whole lot of them in. I, of course, don't need the whole lot of them in anyways, because we're in April. No, well, I guess we're technically in March. We're one of the last weeks of March. But let's go ahead and put this in here, and let's just see how that looks. Okay, so still a good amount of space still left in there, as you can see. And there is a bit of overhang, but I don't really care about that. I don't mind. Okay, cool. And I am going to experiment with a few different kind of like layout ideas, since I have a couple of weeks. I have a couple of weeks here that I can kind of play around with, so I'm excited about that. Cool, and then I'm going to put this in the weeks section. So technically we are, and I want to make some little like the circles that you put here to reinforce the pages. I think one of the things I'm kind of afraid of is breaking the pages. I'm so scared of doing that. Okay, so we are officially on this week right now as we speak. So yeah, I am going to be making some dividers and such. Cool. And then some tabs and all that jazz. I debated on whether to use this, but it's too small, I think. I'd probably be better off using an A5 size. And then there's the project managers, which I still have to give some thought to how I'm going to use them. But I am, again, just going to put them in here so that they just have somewhere to live while I figure things out. And I should probably get like a separate oh cool, okay, a separate binder for storage, because I definitely have some A6 binders that I can use for storage, but I don't have any for this size. Okay, and even then we're still good. We're about halfway through. And I don't foresee having a lot of other pages in here, but again, I can definitely reduce some of the bulk by removing some of these, so that's fine. And I'm really excited for this blue paper. I don't know why, but I am. I think maybe these, since they're in a quadrant, I could probably use the Eisenhower matrix to kind of figure out my goals for the week, maybe. That's a possibility. Yeah. Oops. Oh, that fell. Why did that fall? Is that like an extra little paper? Yeah, the blue paper. It's so pretty. Maybe I'll put it here. Nice. So that's the initial setup and the unboxing for the stuff that I purchased from Plotter.